welcome back to The Writer's Dream, a show where we chat with writers about their books and the writing process. My name is Dina Santarelli, and today we have a wonderful guest, a wonderful treat for you. We have Jane Julianelli, who's here with us to talk about her wonderful book, The Naked Shoe, The Artistry of Mabel Julianelli, and she's going to tell us all about it today. Welcome, Jane.
Thank you very much, Dina.
So tell me a little bit about this book. I understand it's a tribute to your mother and her life and her career.
It is. I'm a storyteller, and this is a story, and it's probably the best story I've ever told. And it's about Mabel Julianelli and Charles Julianelli, her husband and partner. And she started in the shoe business in 1927, and she had a 50-year career after that, very successful career.
Now, why did you want to write this book? Why?
I wanted to tell her story. I know that a lot of people may not have heard of her, young people especially, and for various reasons she kind of slipped out of the scene. But she is a force that needs to be reckoned with, and a designing force. And I wanted her to be brought back to life, so to speak, and her designs brought back to life.
Well, tell us a little bit about her.
She was a shy Jewish girl. She grew up in Flatbush, the Flatbush section of Brooklyn. She met Charles Julianelli at a shoe pattern factory, and in 1929, women, didn't go into shoe pattern factories, and they met, and they decided that they would go. Well, she decided she would go into business by herself, and she started Mabel Winkle and Company. She asked Charles if he would partner with her, and he said yes. Aww. So they started a business, but it was really her business.
Now, what did she what was she looking to do? Like, what did she think she could offer in the shoe industry that was not already out there?
Well, let's just say in 1926, she heard her mother saying she would break her shoes in. And shoes were made of very hard leather with wooden buttons, and they hurt. Shoes really hurt in 1926. So she just got the idea that she was going to make wonderful, comfortable shoes, even then. And she went to Pratt Institute, and she really wanted to be in the architecture school. But I don't think they allowed women in architecture at that time. So but she loved the idea of buildings, and she used to sketch buildings. And she took all those ideas and decided to put them into the shoe. And then Charles Julianelli, who went to the Cooper Union, he was very big with in construction. So together they patented a lot of constructions in the 1940s that are actually referenced today by large shoe manufacturers such as Nike.
Really?
And yeah, Nike did a running shoe based on a wedge, and I'm wearing a Julianelli wedge today.
It's lovely, and it matches your jacket.
Thank you.
Lovely.
This is probably from, I would say, 1960, the 1960s. And Jimmy Choo's another brand that has referenced 1940 Julianelli patents.
Now, I think it's interesting that you said your mother wanted to incorporate architectural elements into shoe design.
She did.
Can you, we have some shoes here that your mother designed. Can you show us some examples of that, how some references, some influence from architecture?
Well, the group of shoes that won them the Coty Award was called the Naked Look. And this would probably be a good example. It's a replica of a shoe that Sophia Loren wore, and it's actually a double-page spread in the Naked Shoe, hers in gold, in Harper's Bazaar of 1982. And it's a very comfortable shoe, and a lot has to do with various constructions. And it's not just the nakedness of it, it's the way it was constructed. And I'm not giving away those secrets, but actually there's quite a few patents on that construction process.
Oh, that's wonderful. Now, did your mom ever think of writing a book like this, or a memoir of her life or of her career?
No, my mother was not a writer. She was a designer, and she brought me up to be the intellect of the family, so I became a writer. And I think she thought that the shoe business was a bit of a rat race, and she didn't want me in it at all. But interestingly enough, I'm probably going to end up in it because one of my dreams is, and what I call a leg that's grown from the book, is to revive the Julianelli shoe brand.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
So,
and
I always say that, you know, you never know what's going to come from one project.
True. That's true. That happens all the time.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be wonderful to be able to continue your mother's legacy in that way?
I definitely want to do that. I've inherited many, many wonderful, just gorgeous designs, wonderful sketches, bags and bags that I found in the basement of my home in East Hampton.
Oh, my goodness.
I know, so.
Now, tell me about the process of writing this book. I mean, what was that like? What did you find most challenging about the process and most enjoyable about the process?
Well, I have to say that challenging possibly was delving into their intimate letters from the war. They wrote back and forth, and pre-war, and I'm talking about World War II now, and when my father was a first lieutenant in the Army, and she stayed back, and it was a very sad time in this country, and she saw women all around her crying, and she decided she'd go on the radio. Here's this shy Jewish girl from Brooklyn, and she decides she's going to go on the radio and give shoe advice. But meanwhile, she was really giving sort of support to these women that all their men were away fighting. And so it was hard to read the intimate letters. That was sort of a difficult and challenging thing.
Now, she had left them to you? Is that how?
Everything. I just found everything about 3 years ago. A friend of mine and I just delved through these musty, mildewy bags. They were plastic bags. I found them in a basement. But inside, when you open them up, were perfectly preserved sketches of Mabel and shoe patterns that were done by Charles on hard paper with like a box cutting knife.
Oh my goodness!
It was quite a find.
I was reading in your book that they really had such a wonderful love story, your mother and your father.
That's what the book is about.
Yeah.
I actually, when I got the publisher, we sort of had a bit of a creative argument about what the book was really going to be about. Was it going to be just a pictorial of beautiful shoes, or was it going to be a story and a biography? And it turned out to be both, because I fought for the biography.
Good for you.
Yeah,
so it's a combination of the two then.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what it turned out to be.
Now, what did you find to be some of the more enjoyable aspects of writing the book? We talked about the challenging things, going through your mother's and father's very intimate letters. What did you find to be fun about this whole process?
Well, one of the most fun things was that I needed about 40 to 45 pairs of shoes, and I didn't own them. I imposed on all my female relatives, but after that was over, I still needed more shoes, and I found them through actually quite young, I think they're all young, vintage sellers around the country.
Interesting.
And in Canada. And these people know about the Julianellis. They knew more than I did. They could cite her fashion firsts, for instance, the things that she did first in the fashion business, and they just knew about her. It was really amazing, and that was a lot of fun to correspond. I'm still corresponding with them today. And actually, 3 of those vintage shoes are in the Pratt Manhattan Gallery exhibit that's going on through October 8th in New York.
Very nice.
So 3 are from my family, and then 3 shoes are from these vintage sellers.
Now, what were some of those fashion firsts that they knew of?
Well, she did the first ballet, street daytime ballet slipper.
Really?
She revived the T-strap from the Napoleon and Josephine era, the Empire era. She did a chopine, which is from ancient footwear, which is like a fabulous sock that you put under a sandal. She did the bootie, which is this sort of... it could be made of suede or leather, but it was just sort of above the ankle, and she started that.
Oh, wonderful.
The list goes on. Also with the constructions, they did several constructions that were first. And of course, the naked shoe. In 1950, when she actually did win the Coty Award, the people were not wearing naked sandals for evening wear. And she started doing that, and she's known for that now.
Do you think in writing this book that, I know you have a journalist background.
Yeah.
Do you think that helped you a lot in doing the research, especially, I would think, for putting this book together?
Well, you know, I would say that the best writing school there is to get a job on a newspaper. Mm-hmm. I was fortunate enough, I worked at the New York Times for many years, the Long Island section, mm-hmm. and I also worked for the Independent. And I had a garden column of all things. But
really?
just having a deadline and working with an editor who's going to edit you and being able to be sort of almost like a team player. Because it's not just you, it's you, when you write a book, it's you and the publisher mm-hmm. and your editor. And my editor happened to be in England. So we had a time kind of separation, and
right.
we were also separated by language in a funny way, because she'd say British things and I'd say, no, 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 Mabel would never say that. No. But I enjoyed it, and it was wonderful. It really, truly was a wonderful experience.
You know, also the photography